Welcome back to the Not Your Neurotypical podcast, the podcast for all us neurospicy humans, where I bring you content usually related to your health and fitness, but I bring on guests, experts, people with inspiring stories to bring you guys education, support, guidance, and ultimately help you understand your neurospicy brain better than you ever had and to never ever feel alone. Today's episode is a solo episode, another one, just me, myself, my eye, in my little office room, which is still looking very bare. For now, I'm thinking of some really cool something in the background. If you guys have got any ideas, let me know. I also very much want a new door. I hate the door. It's funny, isn't it? When you buy a house, if you've ever bought a house, you can probably relate to this, that you look on Rightmove and you come look at it and you're like, oh, it's great. And then when you actually move in, you realise you hate everything. I hate the doors. I hate everything. But my bank account right now does not have the finances to fix everything. So here we go. But what I would love for this door, Monsters Inc., the doors in Monsters Inc., that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, that's probably going to be one of the last things to change because doors ain't cheap. Doors and getting doors fitted ain't cheap. And if I change one, I'm going to have to change them all. So we need to do some saving, don't we? We need to do some saving and less ADHD impulse spending so we can fund the doors. But in today's episode, what I do want to, first things first, I do apologise for the last episode. I thought I'd nailed this and the filming and everything. No, I wasn't filming in the right settings because I did 4K frames. I don't know. So the quality was not as good as it. I hope this one's better. And I realized the mic wasn't actually plugged in, and I ended up going on tech support for ages and realized I just not plugged it in. So this should be of a higher quality in terms of the camera and not the content. The content was great, but in terms of the visual and audio. So please just give me a thumbs up, follow, subscribe. Just give me some kudos for it, guys. Give me some kudos. But today's episode, let's get a bit more serious, is all about breaking that binge on an evening cycle if you have ADHD. And the tips I'm going to give you, by the way, guys, if you don't have ADHD, maybe just suspect you do, or it's something you struggle with, you will still get some value from this. And the three things that I'm going to go into are not wholly and exclusively the only things, but these are three of the biggest ones that I see with clients that I support, and things that had I done earlier on in my journey as well, I would not have struggled as much as I did with overeating and binge eating. So let's just get straight in. Now, when it comes to overeating and binge eating later on in the day, there are multiple reasons as to why this happens. And the first one is actually more about hunger, blood sugars, and that willpower resilience, right? And something that we see with a lot of ADHD individuals due to medication, where the medication is suppressing the appetite if you are on any of the ADHD meds, the stimulants, just being super busy, rushing around all day, not making time to eat, or forgetting to eat with time blindness, not having structure, not having routine, or even, and this was a mistake that I personally made, getting so hyper-focused on this idea of weight loss that you're like, well, I'm just going to restrict, I'm not going to eat all day, don't need to, it's actually going to be great for weight loss. And then it gets to the end of the day, and if you've not eaten all day and you are hungry, or your blood sugars are low, if your blood sugars are low, your body is going to be crying out for sugar, and that's where you'll get the cravings for the more delicious foods. What we also know as well is that when we don't eat very good, balanced, regular meals, it will increase our stress hormones, so things like cortisol, adrenaline. And when our cortisol, which is, you might have heard of it, you might not, it's a hormone in our body, when it's elevated, we are actually physiologically, scientifically, more driven to eat highly palatable, high carbohydrate-based food. So when you get to the end of your day, you're tired, you've done adulting, you've done parenting, you've done studying, whatever your day has been, blood sugars are low, you probably are quite hungry, you are putting yourself in a vulnerable position to overeat and or overindulge in foods that are not necessarily helpful, because there is not a single person in the world who is put in that position who is going to go, do you know what I really want? A chicken salad or a salmon stir fry. No, you just want sugar, you want biscuits, you want ease, you want convenience. So the way to combat that is to ensure that you create a regular eating structure. And my suggestion is 3 balanced meals and a couple of snacks throughout the day, spread out. And the more structured, the better, in terms of each meal has its own makeup of a protein. You might have maybe breakfast is slightly smaller depending on your appetite, but there is a structure that you follow just to remove that decision fatigue. And it's balanced in the respect of ensuring there is always a protein, ideally always a fruit, veg or salad item, and then you can play about with carbs and fats depending on preferences. So my structure will be that I will always eat breakfast generally between 7 and 9 depending on what I'm doing, lunch between 11:30, depending how hungry I am, to 1. Dinner will usually be any time between 5:30 to 7 typically, and then I'll have an evening snack, which I break up into a few snacks, just because it works better with my brain, and then an afternoon one if I've got time. And then each meal kind of looks the same. So my breakfast, my dinner, lunch, let's not get into that debate, generally it's the same thing. I usually eat the same things on repeat, and that just works really well for me. Now, when I was at uni, when I was first getting into fitness and I wasn't having food cooked and prepped for me, I was like, right, I want to lose weight, so I would try and not eat all day, thinking that was hardcore and that would help. And then it would just get to the end of the day and I just eat binge on takeaways, I worked at KFC at the time, so I would binge on all the food there. I just eat like sleeves of biscuits, and I was like, why? I want to lose weight. Why am I doing this? And it was just because of that. Blood sugars were low, willpower was low, I was hungry, I was tired. Decision fatigue was really high as well. You know, when you're tired, you're not wanting to cook and prep and think about it. So make sure you have regular balanced meals and snacks. And if you do struggle with things like time blindness and forgetfulness, set yourself alarms, set yourself reminders, create habits, create routines. It might take time, but it's going to be one of the most valuable things you can do. So that is your fundamental step 1. Number 2 is to realize that when it comes to evening overeating and evening snacking, any overeating, any binging, 95%, that is not a scientific statistic, but it's the statistic that I would throw. Percent of the time, it's not actually the food, right? You'll have random times where you go, do you know what, I really just fancy that thing, and I want, like tonight, I really just want and fancy one of those little mini pizzas, you know, the little individual ones that are absolutely fantastic for when you are in a calorie deficit, which I am right now, and they're delicious from Aldi. And I just fancy it. I just love it. I love pizza. Pizza is great. But also, when it comes to cravings and urges, generally, it's not about, especially when it's like emotional on an evening, it's not about the food. It's about what the food is going to give you. That dopamine, that relief from boredom, that relief from stress, that, just calm down. And when you realize that, and especially with an ADHD brain, with that dopamine deficiency and that highly palatable, delicious food giving you that big boost of dopamine, you can then realize that actually what I need in that moment, what is going to help me break that cycle, is to ensure that I'm getting sufficient dopamine throughout the day, and things that I can do in the evening that give me the hit of dopamine. Now, I'm going to put this caveat out there because a lot of other coaches will give you this advice, right? Like if it's emotional driven eating, just go do something else. And yes, that in theory works. The problem is they don't explain that when you go and do these other things, it is not going to feel as good as food, right? And if you go into, you know, when you create your other dopamine inducing activities, you go in with the expectation that it is going to give you the same level of comfort and hit as food, you're going to be disappointed. The same way that if you were getting a new car and you'd gone from something really, really luxurious like a Range Rover, a Porsche, and you were expecting that same level of luxury from your Renault, no offense, Renaults are great, you'd be very disappointed. But if you knew that it was going to be still the same vehicle that was going to give you ultimately what you needed, maybe lower the barrier of expectation, you'd be fine. And that's exactly what these other inducing things will do. So, you know, going for walks, exercising, having a nice long bath, calling a friend, even just like planning fun things in the future. Anything that gives you that hit of dopamine. It's not going to feel the same, but it's going to give you that dopamine. And over time, you can train your brain that these other things can give you what you need. So throughout the day, are you getting sunlight early on? We know that helps. Are you moving your body in a way that feels good? I know since exercising, like this is one of the reasons I'm so passionate about fitness and ADHD, is that exercise for me gives me dopamine, gives me that positive energy and endorphins, and it helps me so much to not feel this need to have like a shit ton of dopamine on an evening. Are you giving yourself, if you've got a really busy, stressful job, just little moments of calm and fun throughout the day? Have you got an evening routine which has got fun, nice, calming things in it that can give you that hit of dopamine? Oh, my computer's just decided it wants to go off on one. That's great, in the middle of recording. Love that. I was so focused as well. Thanks, mate. So are you getting dopamine throughout the day? And then it's creating an evening routine where there are other things that provide that dopamine as well. And the easiest way to do that is to create a dopamine menu. I have got a resource on that. So if you just, I was going to say comment, but you can't because I won't be able to send you it via YouTube or Spotify. If you find me on the gram and you just message me dopamine menu, I'll send you it. Instagram works better than TikTok, so please do it on Instagram. Thank you so much. And this idea and concept is not mine. I saw it created by someone else. And the idea is just having this bank of idea of things that you can do that create dopamine and creating new habits and ensuring you're getting enough throughout the day. Ensure you're getting enough throughout the week. But creating a nice evening routine especially is game changing. And just reminding yourself as well when you're in that routine that this is giving me what I need. When that urge for that biscuit comes, or the crisps, or the chocolate, you just got to ask yourself that question. Is it that I really want this, or is it what it's going to give me, and what else can give me that? Okay. Work's a dream, takes practice. I'm not going to say you do that once and all of a sudden you'll never want, but it takes repetition. But over time, your brain will create this new connection that this is what I do, this is what can make me feel better, and that urge will come down massively. And then the third thing, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, this is my experience, and this is what has worked for clients, I think if you have been in cycles of having a nice evening bit of food with dopamine for a long time, to try and completely eradicate that is going to be really hard. And I tried, right? I remember at the start of my fitness journey, I got this meal plan from my coach, and it was had this evening, I was like, oh, you know, that's gonna be the hardest part. Like, I think I can do this all day, and it gets the evening. So I was like, what's my evening snack? And it was something like plain Greek yogurt. If you've ever had plain Greek yogurt, fucking hell, it's awful on its own, with a square of like 90% dark chocolate. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Greek chocolate and I like 90% dark chocolate, but just them two on their own, I had that and I was just sat there like, I want more food. I want more food, I want more food, I'm not satisfied by this, it's not that enjoyable. And over time, I created my own version of this. It was my yog ball. I went through this like hyperfixation phase of yog balls, and it became a thing. Like, people were like tagging me, like, here's my yog ball, hashtag yog ball. And I was like, I'm not an influencer yet, am I? I wasn't, it's close enough. And, you know, what I was doing was creating a nicer version of that. So I would still have that base of protein, but I had some protein powder, so it didn't taste like sour, gross. I bulked it out with fruit. And then what I would add is things like a bit of cereal for some crunch, or granola, and like something like peanut butter or something like that, scoff spread. Just made it a bit more enjoyable, but still kept the baseline of having some fruit and some protein, I called it. And what I realized what I was doing was basically I was adding to the things that I wanted, because I would just love like a big fat bowl of cereal on a night, or like toast. It's just some crunch and deliciousness. That's what I used to love, or biscuits. And it just thought to me, well, what is helping me then? And when I completely skipped part of the story. When I started to do this, that urge to carry on overeating was just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I realized by pairing the protein and the fiber to slow down my digestion, to bulk it out, to make me feel more full, with the parts that I was already enjoying, like the cereal or the biscuits or whatever it was that I was adding into that bowl, my urges and cravings were gone, because I was meeting my cravings, I was bringing them in. And I call this method my add not subtract method, and I love the fact that loads of people have now stole that and not even copyrighted me, you twats. So if you see a coach say that, you can be like, Lucy got there first. Copyright Lucy, get them to court. No, I'm joking, it's not that creative, is it? But I do know people that have directly copied it. And so for you, if it's that I like some crisps or biscuits on an evening, rather than trying to go cold turkey, add not subtract. So what you could do is have an individual pack of crisps. You could also then have it with like some sort of proteins. You can make it into like a little like picky bits. So you can have like some ham and some like cucumber and carrot sticks. If you're more of a sweet gal like me, or guy, sorry, shouldn't assume. I assume it's mostly women that watch this. But if you're a guy and you're watching this, please let me know. I would love to know. Or if you're transgender, I'd love to know, right? I'd just make assumptions, I shouldn't do that. If it's biscuits or cereal, can you add that? So have it with like a protein yogurt, a protein pudding, some banana, some berries. Add not subtract. It is a game changer. Like, I cannot tell you how many of my clients have implemented it and gone, what the fuck? This is magic. Like, I can have the chocolate and not want to binge. Yes, you can. So those are my 3 initial top tips when it comes to overcoming the evening binging, when it comes to ADHD. So there are many more, and if you would like me to do another episode with some more, please let me know. I hope this quality is better on this podcast. But as always, if there's anything you guys want to see on this episode, any guests, any particular topics, please let me know. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you on the next episode.